Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you again. We got another match of the starter deck 14 mono black Luffy versus Zoro. I had some great games, and I really enjoyed going out and playing some OP08. I think it's a super fun meta right now. There's a lot of, really cool decks you can play. Obviously, there's going to be a couple of best decks in the format, but there's still quite a lot of fun to be had. And personally, I am enjoying the heck out of starter deck 14 Luffy. This deck is just all around super strong, has great matchup spread, and I don't know, it just kind of fits my playstyle. So yeah. But before we start into the match, I do want to let everyone know I apologize. There's probably going to be a few times in this recording that I might cough. I have some pretty serious seasonal allergies, and unfortunately with the change of weather here in Virginia, it is real. I am getting a lot of congestion as well as some coughs, so doesn't help one bit at all. But starting it off, my opponent does go first, ends up getting the Dr. Kariha, picks up the 3-cost chopper, which is like the lifeblood of that deck, and I take this 5k swing. Looking back at this, I don't believe that taking this early swing against Zoro is always great, especially for 5 with no dedication. It feels like I knew what was coming, and I was about to see a super flooded board. I think I maybe should have just countered with a Sabo here, but the 3-cost chopper does pick up the other 3-cost chopper, which plays out a 3k or less. And that is going to be that Hiking Bear. Hiking Bear is, honest to God, kind of an annoying card. Once it's turned sideways, it's not too bad, but it's plus 1000 power for any of the animal type characters that my opponent has on his board. Lucky for us, he doesn't have any right now, and the only animal rush card that I believe could fit into this deck is Robson from OP08. So it looks like it's just going to be an attacker. So we see a 5k coming. I know that I don't have any 2ks in hand, so I do need to get out of this attack. I'm kind of bricked up, if you will, in some way, shape, or form. But my opponent hits me with a Rush Zoro as well, so another 6k is it's starting to get a little scary. I don't want to get too low on life because Diable Jambe is a very, very real thing. And I do decide to counter out with Brook as well as Sabo here. I just don't want to get super low, and lucky for us, we do end up drawing into the, what was it? A 2k counter, so T-Bone. T-Bone is not really a card that I'm trying to play super much in these matchups, as much as I am trying to realistically just have it for that little bit of defense in hand. But I swing Brook into the Hiking Bear, get rid of the Dr. Kariha, so love the value that I'm getting there. I'm just going to swing 6 to life and play out Sanji. It removes the Zoro, but if I didn't have a lot of this removal, dealing with this pressure early on would be extremely difficult. So I can see why Zoro is, super successful into a lot of the matches that it does play into. But that's why Brook is such an important card for this matchup, because it acts as a pseudo blocker which protects my life, and it's a card that I can basically just recur over and over again from my trash. And he picks up the 3-cost chopper from OP08, so you can trash a card from hand and then pick up I believe it's a 3-cost or less Straw Hat character. So it might even just be a Straw Hat type card, but I believe it's a character card off the top of my head. He does decide to just go 6 into the Brook, though. He did his job, so I'm happy with the Brook play. Unfortunately, dropping an Ice Age pretty early does end up becoming a little bit annoying, and you'll see why in the later stages of this match. But I think that it was super necessary, or else I would have probably let my opponent run away with the game. So we have 8 Dawn. I have Jack. Jack is just so fantastic for us in this matchup. I know that he's got the 1-cost event as well. And so I do decide to play down Jack, KOing the Chopper. I do think this was actually a bit of a mistake, and I'll explain my reasoning here. So, excuse me. I know my opponent has 2 Dawn up. I'm going to swing 6 here, and now I'm going to swing 7 with my leader being buffed up because of Jack. He has the event, the 1-cost event that allows him to search the top 5 and play down a character. Lucky for me, he whiffs on that, which is extremely important. But had he hit a chopper, he really could have ran away with the game right there. And I think that leaving Jack active before swinging and potentially allowing my opponent to just give me the block because he knows that it might get KO'd was the better way to go. And then if he ends up finding like the chopper off of the event search, then I could use Jack to KO the chopper rather than allow him to just continuously flood the board. So I actually think we got very lucky right there, and my mistake almost cost me like pretty dearly in the game. So I definitely have a lot to learn about this matchup, but that's why I like going over these matches and just kind of think, you know, hey, what was something I could have maybe done a little bit better right here? He does swing 8 into the Sanji. I only have the 2k and the 1k to try and protect it if I do want to. My opponent is just going to swing 9 into, or excuse me, 10 with the leader effect from Zoro into Jack. I don't really want to let this card go, but I'm also dropping all of the counter in my hand. So now I just feel like I'm kind of down bad, if I'm being completely honest with you. But the nice thing is I have a couple options here. I did draw into the 8-cost Luffy. So this actually gives me a bit of an interesting like option. Can I potentially go for game here? Does my opponent have like enough counter in hand? I know that this deck does typically run quite a bit of bricks. So I just kind of want to like test with a 7k first and see how close that gets me. I also have 3 life, so I don't really know why I'd be sweating, you know, potentially losing the game right here. He does take the 7k, so now I'm like, man, do I go for it? Like, do I swing 8 with Jack, or do I swing 9 with Jack and then play Luffy and swing 10? It would probably catch my opponent off guard, but I'm deciding on whether I want to use Jack's effect right here or swing, you know, at life and then go, you know, 10 or 11 with the Luffy. But I decide to play a little more passive, a little more scared, if you will. I end up killing the Dr. Korea and playing out, playing out the Gecko Moria and picking up a 2k counter just off of a Rebecca. I don't hate it, but at the end of the day, I think being at 3 life with my opponent only having like 3 swings, sure, maybe another rush card. I don't know. I think that I was looking pretty good, but it's one of those moments that it's kind of tough to tell. I could have potentially lost the match if I didn't get rid of, you know, the Dr. Korea. But even still, I could have, you know, let's say he countered out of the Jack swing after I had just went 8. Then I could have, you know, just played Moria and picked up Brook, and Brook could have KO'd Dr. Korea. So I know that Makino is still a threat, so that's why these 1 costs do become kind of scary. But he picks up the 3-cost chopper and the alt art. Love the alt art of that card personally. I think it looks kind of cool. And yeah, he's got I believe 9 Dawn to work with. He's got the dragon still on board. Could try and swing into my Jack, but we do get a free Rebecca block. He knows I picked up the 2k as well, but not having too many cards in hand is a little, you know, it's a little scary where we're at in the match currently. I don't have a blocker to set up for the following turn as well. If Jack gets off the board, then basically this Luffy in my hand is dead. Like, Luffy is such a good card, but it's only realistically useful for me if Jack is on the board. So he does swing 11k into the Jack. I do decide to just block that. I want to try and keep it on the board as much as possible. He is going to attach 1 Dawn and swing 6. I think that was a slight mistake on my opponent's. Oh no, he actually attached quite a few Dawn right there. He attached I think like 5 Dawn, so he swung 10 again. That was a bit of a mistake on my opponent's behalf. He could have attached the Dawn to Zoro beforehand, making, you know, Dragon plus 1k, so it was actually only a 10k swing that went into Jack. Not the biggest deal, but my opponent doesn't have a blocker here. I make a stupid mistake right here. So I'm thinking that I can play Rush Luffy, but I'm stupid and I forgot that I don't have Jack on the board anymore. So I do play Luffy, and then the realization sets in and I go, oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. I can't even play this card because Moria is only a 9 cost with my leader effect, so I don't have a 10 cost to gain Rush. But, you know, we're playing locally. All of us don't mind if we take back, like, minor mistakes and stuff like that. You know, it's not like a big tournament with, you know, extreme prizing, you know, up for grabs and stuff like that. But that mistake definitely cost me dearly. Leaves me with the 2k in hand as well as the Rush Luffy, but this Rush Luffy is super dead to me. It's like it's not doing anything. I know for sure my Moria is dead. I have to somehow get around a chopper blocker, and if whoa, little camera movement. And if he plays another chopper blocker, it could have been a little difficult also. But lucky for us, he just gets down the another dragon. But Dragon is going to take out the Moria, and now we've got another leader swing to deal with. We've got a dragon to deal with. We're just going to see... Excuse me. We're just going to see 7 of life. He knows that I don't have it because I've basically shown him all that I have in hand. We get a Kuzan from that and a Nico Robin. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, did I actually potentially throw right here? Depending on what kind of counter he has in hand, this is a little bit weird. But he does have 5 cards, so he could potentially have it. But we're going to be able to get multiple swings through. We're just kind of talking through, you know, the previous turn and my mistake with the 8-cost Luffy. But I'm thinking through my plans right now of what options I have. And it's looking like T-Bone realistically is my option. So I am just going to go 5k to life, lowering down the chopper by 1. Bringing it to a 2 cost, I can rest 5 and now play T-Bone, which is super rare that this ever happens. But I do get the 2k out. And 7 connects. 7 does win the game. He had the Diable Jambe, though, so we were cooked the next turn if we didn't get it right here. Worked out for us, but I think it got a little scary there. I got a little bit to learn on this matchup and some things that I could probably, you know, fine-tune to make my experience or games, you know, a little bit easier. I do think that this match, though, isn't really that bad for Luffy because of a lot of the removal, and just having Brook as a whole in the deck is fantastic. But we play a second match out because we finished the first match pretty quickly, and he's going to start off with a Nami search this time. So does get a chance of finding maybe another chopper like he did the last game, and he does get the 3-cost Altar chopper right there. I don't believe, do I have the brand new? I don't, never do, never will, to start off my 2-Dawn turn, so I just pass it back over. I've got a couple of Sabos, but I take this first hit again. I don't love this. Like, I should, in my opinion, just be getting out with Sabo, but yeah, I guess 3-cost Rush Zoro, that's fine. It kind of worked out for us. I'm just going to swing 9 into the Zoro, though, because I have 0 plays, nothing to do until at least next turn. So I wish that I had Kuzan. I wish I had brand new, but we do have Jack, and that's all that matters because Jack is the GOAT. And 1 Dawn attached to leader right here with a Makino is going to bring that Nami up. So Nami's now swinging at me for 6. I got to counter out with a T-Bone. He gets another 6k through. I'm taking because I'm hoping for a 2k, and I do end up getting it, thankfully. I did have a T-Bone as well, so I guess it's not like all that important. But I knew that either way I was going to be able to get out of that swing. Luckily, we're drawing, you know, fairly well as far as counter power, but early removal is just not going our way right now. I would love to have Brook, obviously, like we did in the first match. Not having that early is kind of rough right now. I am just going to swing 5, though, into the Makino, I believe, because I just don't really have anything else to do other than play Sabo. So I go 5 into Makino. I do just play out Sabo. I finally find the brand new. Unfortunately, it just feels like it's a little too late. And I know that I'm going to get rid of a Jack. I'm just considering whether I'm getting rid of Ice Age or not, because I just thought about Dragon, the previous game, and just not having Ice Age made, you know, dealing with that card extremely difficult. So I decided to go a little bit of a different route and keep it in hand just in case. And I don't hate it, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I have such high, like, cost cards that'll be on the board that I could really just swing into the card extremely easily if I need to. But Dr. Korea is going to come down and search, unfortunately, whiffing again. So my man is kind of down bad on the searches. Whiffing one each game is pretty rough. And then Dr. Chopper right here, going to be taking a look at the top 5, and would you believe this, another whiff. And so he told me that he basically should have done it in the opposite order. So like the Chopper would have picked up a card if he had done it first, and then Korea would have picked up a card if he had done that second. So yeah, kind of rough. I feel bad for my man here. It is what it is, but pretty tough. And yeah, local spot was handing out a couple of you know, participation prizing. So they actually gave us a Uta event pack and a couple of those buddy battle sleeves, which was really cool also. So shout out to Tower of Games for hooking it up. But 6K swing and another 6K swing. Unfortunately, I think I'm just gonna have to take this one. I could counter out with T-Bone, but I decided to take it. Unfortunately, drawing another brick in hand though. I need to get Jack onto the board, but I really also need to get Moria, and not having Moria is pretty tough. So, or it should be not having Rebecca in trash is pretty tough. So I actually do end up playing Jack out first because I'm trying to cycle through my deck quite a bit. And I'm just a mad lad. I actually get really aggressive with this Sabo, which I think is kind of a bad idea with 2 life. Sure, I have some counter in hand, but I guess I just really didn't want him to have multiple swings at me the following turn. I just wanted potentially 2, maybe 3, depending on if he has a rush card. I don't love it because it makes like a dragon play here just that much better. I'm going to be absolutely just... I don't know. He's just going to be eating cards out of my hand, essentially, if he goes that route. And I just don't love that. So I think swinging with Sabo was a bit of a mistake. I do have a 6K lead, though, which is great. I don't want to get down much lower on life because, you know, Diable Jambe is a very big threat. He does find the dragon again, which is so rough. I was like, God, how does he keep finding it? Like, you know, this card's not even searchable, man. But, you know, hey, he just got it like that. And now we're going to see maybe a 7, maybe an 8. He is going to go 7 into the Sabo. This kind of sucks. Like, the 7's actually really an annoying card or annoying number for me, because if I do counter out of this to keep it on board, then I know that I have to counter a 2K, 1K with Jack, or potentially 2 2Ks, which is not great. I'm not ecstatic about that. And yeah, it's actually like a super annoying number, swinging 7 right here. I'm just basically going to be dropping my entire hand for this. I could just let the Sabo go, but I'm also in a bit of a weird situation not having a blocker in trash for my Moria to play. So I do just give him a 2K with T-Bone, and now he's just going to swing 10 into life, so he pivots. Super smart. Gets me down to 1 life. I do pick up Sanji, but excuse me, at what cost? At what cost? I want to play Moria, obviously. Wait, am I swinging Sabo? What is wrong with me? Oh my god, we're crazy. We have no chill. I mean, like, I know that I'm removing the dragon, but at the same time, like, is this worth? I end up getting a Kuzan here. I think that this was actually really incorrect. I could have just trashed Borsalino, but I think that since I saw the Kuzan, I thought that was like the play. Yeah, I think I could have just trashed Borsalino, and then I would have had another blocker to potentially get out of whatever big swing. Because if he just attaches everything, goes for life right here, and then the following turn just hits me with like a Diable Jambe, I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to be very upset. And that's just the reality, is that could happen. I guess he's just kind of considering, like, what are the routes here? You know, is it going to be like 2 big swings like this in a rush Zoro or something like that? Is it just going to be 1 big swing, get me low enough for Diable? If he doesn't have it, he also has to think, you know, maybe we try and play defensively with Chopper. But this is actually a really interesting card. So I believe this is Gum Gum King Kong Gatling Gun, and this gives plus 3k to a character or leader, and another 1k to the character or leader if there is a 7,000 power or higher character on your opponent's board. So since I have Moria, since I have Jack, the Korea is now up 4k, and the plus the leader effect. So now I've got a 7k swing coming at me. I am a 6k, and he actually forgets that, so he told me that he would have attached a Dawn, and I was like, yeah, that's totally fine, no worries. So he does swing 8 with that, and I give him a 2k 1k. But yeah, I mean, that was a card I was not expecting. I actually really like it too, because it's Straw Hat and Drum Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken. And now he swings 8 here, and I don't know like what I'm just doing in my brain, but I decided to take this for some ungodly reason, when that was like the easiest counter of my life. Going down to 0 is just never correct against Zoro. It's just never, unless you obviously are forced to. Like, I should have countered that 100%. But he plays the Chopper blocker. I now I'm like sort of upset, because I just wish that I had Brook. If I had Brook, I feel like this game probably would be over on this turn exactly. But I just don't have it, so I swing 5, and then lower down Chopper here. I was hoping that he would just give me a free block, but he doesn't. This now forces my hand on whether I'm gonna like manually play out a Sanji, use Jack effect, but then I lose Jack as a swing, potentially trying to go for game and end it here. I do end up just using Jack though to KO Chopper, because I didn't have the Brook. And I cycle out Sanji. I know I'm looking to basically just try and go for value here. I'm like, my biggest thing is like, okay, hopefully you don't have what do you call it? Why am I forgetting the name of it? Diable Jambe. If you have it, you have it. But I'm swinging 7. I'm waiting until he plays a card with the effect. He knows that I've used Jack, so maybe he feels pretty confident. I also did put 1 Dawn underneath Sabo, not because I want to swing with it. It's just because I wanted to protect it from a potential jet pistol, if anything. Yeah, and now I can just rest 7, play over the, what is it? The brand new. And now with that 7, just KO the Chopper that's on board. I don't want him to have that second swing, and it will allow me to cycle out one of the dead cards in hand. I do draw into a 1k, which is nice, but I make the biggest mistake. I swing 9 here to get to life. I had no need to. I have so many swings to like end the game next turn. That life that I just swung was Diable Jambe, and I gave him the win. He was able to swing 14, and I think I could get to 13 exactly. Yeah, so 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, I end up losing the second round, but it was a really fun one. You know, a lot of lessons learned, and, you know, maybe some stuff I could have done slightly better. I really did need to see Brook that match, and just not seeing that was, you know, pretty incremental. So, lesson learned on that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the match, and I will catch y'all in the next one. All right, peace.